everybody. I'm Lav, and today we are going to be talking about one of my favorite anime ever. This show actually was one of my gateway anime into becoming a fan of the genre itself. And that show is Ouran High School Host Club. This show was actually recommended to me by one of my online friends. When he heard I started watching anime, he was like, "Oh, you gotta watch this. It's one of my favorite shows ever." And I saw some things that I was like, "Okay, I'll give it a try." It was the best decision ever, basically. For those who don't know what the show is about, it follows Haruhi Fujioka, a student who isn't rich that attends a school full of rich people. Haruhi accidentally breaks a vase that was going to be auctioned by the host club, which is a club of men who entertain ladies. So, to repay their debt, Haruhi becomes a host, but it turns out that he is actually a girl. So she has to hide the fact that she is a girl in order to repay her debt. It's really funny. There's a lot of fourth wall breaks. It's a lot of really funny jokes. A lot of the characters are very over the top. And it has some of my favorite voice actors ever, including J. Michael Tatum, Todd Habercord, and Vic Mignogna. Yes, I stand with Vic. I believe he's innocent. And if you have a problem with that, you do not have to watch this video. So today, I've compiled a list of my top 10 favorite episodes from the show. It was really hard to make a list because pretty much all of the episodes are really, really good. I love it. I tried to binge watch the show and I had to take breaks because of how hilarious it is. Like, I had to regather myself. Anyway, I compiled a list, and the only thing that is scripted is the list. I'm gonna be going off script. So here we go. Number 10 is the pilot episode, Starting Today, You Are a Host. This episode introduces all of the main characters and shows Haruhi becoming a host. It also introduces this really bratty character who I don't remember her name, and I do not wish to care about her name because she's an utter brat that bullies Haruhi because she is jealous of the attention Haruhi's getting from Tamaki. So that character can just go fade away like she did after this episode. But basically, it introduces each character, and it shows each character figuring out that Haruhi is a girl. In some cases, you could tell that what caused them to think she's a girl. And as for others, I'm just like, how did you figure it out? Yuya, I'm looking at you! How did you figure out that she was a girl? Anyway, it's a really good starter to it. And it's a very great way of introducing each character. I really like it, and it's a very solid pilot. Number 9 is Operation Haruhi and Hikaru's First Date. I am a huge Haru Tamaki shipper. Like, I think that those two are so cute together and they're together. But I was okay with Hikaru dating her and having feelings for her. This episode happens during the summer vacation arc. Basically, Hikaru is very jealous because of Haruhi's old school friend visiting, and he gets all crabby, and he's all like, "What about us? We are your friends! Why aren't you hanging with us?" And he just has a temper tantrum. So Kaoru, his twin, decides that the two of them should have a date to help them, feel better. So they go on a date, and the hosts follow behind, and the reason why I really like this is actually the ending. Hikaru runs away out of frustration, and Haruhi finds out that it's thundering, and she actually has a fear of thunder. So she goes missing, and the hosts get really upset at Hikaru for abandoning her like that. And that's when everybody finds out that she's afraid of thunder. So he goes to find her, and he gives her his headphones with music to help her calm down and just apologizes over and over again. And I like this because it shows that Hikaru, even though he acts like he doesn't care or anything, actually has a soft side to him. And it's really cute. Their interactions are super cute. Number 8 is Refreshing Battle in Karuzara. I probably mispronounced that, but anyway, this is the start of the summer vacation arc. Haruhi gets a job. It doesn't pay, but she gets a volunteer job at a hotel. And when the hosts find out, they all want to stay in the hotel and be serviced, but there's only one room available, so they all decide to help out around the hotel and get refresher points to see who would be taking the room. You see all of the hosts do the things they do best, or worse in Tamaki's opinion, or in his case, because he doesn't know how to hammer a fence. And I really like this because the hotel manager is very over the top. He's so extra, he's so cool. And you see all the hosts doing things like working, stuff they don't normally do, and some of them are actually really good at it. Like Mori, he should have gotten the room Mori Senpai should have, honestly. I mean, have you seen him without a shirt on? And have you seen him, like, cutting the wood? Oh my gosh! Number 7 is This Is Our Ouran Fair. This episode is one of the 2 episodes that actually made me feel like crying. The other episode will be on the list later on. A lot of people praise this episode. It's the finale, but I think it could have been a little stronger, and it only made me feel like watching more, like I want more episodes. This doesn't feel like a conclusion, this feels like a continuation. I want more of Ouran. Basically, Tamaki is arranged to marry Eclair, and he decides to shut down the host club because that's what his family wants. And he only agrees to marry her so that he can see his mother again. He is an illegitimate child and he barely ever gets to see his mom. And his mom lives in Paris, so it's really sad. Like, you get to learn more about him and you feel sorry for him. But the rest of the host club are like, we want this to stay open. Tamaki made the host club because it's his family. His real life family is really bad. Like, they're not nice to him. They don't care about him or anything, which is why he made the host club, because it's his family and everybody there loves him. So they have this giant chase scene where they go after him, and Haruhi basically confesses that she loves being a host, and they almost kissed. Like, I wanted them to kiss so bad, but they just hugged, and I'm just like, no! But yeah, and it has a really cute scene at the end, where Kyoya and Tamaki's father discuss on who will end up marrying Haruhi. If you read the manga, though, then you know that Tamaki and Haruhi get married. Yeah! I'm sorry, I'm a huge fan of the ship. But yeah, that's basically This Is Our Ouran Fair in a nutshell. Number 6 is Kyoya's Reluctant Day Out. This is also during the summer vacation arc. This is the last episode of that arc. And oh my gosh, this is a really fun episode. So basically, the host club decides to go through a commoner's mall to see what it's like shopping there, especially because there's an event going on there. And basically, they drag Kyoya there while he's asleep, and they drop him on a bench and forget about him, and he's just lost without money or anything. He fortunately runs across Haruhi, who has money, but not a lot, so they don't buy too much. Like, literally, they eat McDonald's. I would not imagine somebody with that much wealth eating McDonald's reluctantly. But yeah, it's really fun. You get to see more of what Kyoya is like. And you see that he's actually a lot like Tamaki, which is pretty cool, even though they look and act like complete opposites. They are actually pretty similar at times, which is really nice. Number 5 is The Door the Twins Opened. I'm not a big fan of the twins, like I wasn't just because their interactions were kind of creepy to me at first, but they actually have really good episodes when it's centered around them. And this episode, which it shows how they joined the host club and how they met Tamaki, this is the second episode that I was talking about that made me want to cry, just because you feel so sorry for the twins. All they ever want is somebody to tell them apart. And it's just really sad that nobody got to do that except for when Tamaki finally was able to. And then of course Haruhi can tell them apart, which makes them feel better as well. But yeah, you get to see what it's like with the twins, and you feel really sorry for them. Like, they were so isolated from everybody else, and it's just really sad. They have some of the saddest backstory ever. Like, next to Tamaki and Haruhi, their backstory is really sad. Number 4 is A Day in the Life of the Fujioka Family. Ranka is best dad. Hands down, he's the best dad ever. I love him. He is super fun. He loves his daughter. I actually support transvestites, so I think that I approve of his lifestyle, and he looks so fabulous. But yeah, he's so fun. And you don't find it weird that he dresses up like a girl. Like, it just feels natural for him. And you can also see where Haruhi gets her views on gender and stuff. It's really fun, and you get to see the host club interact with her family and learn what it's like to be in her house and stuff. And you get to see more of how Tamaki is kind of like a father to Haruhi, and how he and Ranka are very similar. Number 3 is a tie, just because these 2 episodes I really like and I didn't want to have any honorable mentions. So number 3 is And So Kyoya Met Him and The Sun, the Sea, and the Host Club. And So Kyoya Met Him is another one where you see their backstory. And in this one you see Kyoya's backstory and how he met Tamaki. They met because their families were close, and you could see that Kyoya struggles with his identity in the family. Like, his brothers are all very successful, while as he's just a host club member, even though he's top of the class and everything. He just feels like he isn't as successful as everybody else is and wants to break out of his shell. And Tamaki actually helped him with that. He got annoyed by Tamaki at first just because he was a big otaku. Like, he was all like, oh, I want to see this, oh, I want to see that, oh, why don't you have a katatsu? Why don't you have a katatsu? And his over-the-topness is just weirded him out, but they warmed up to each other, which I really like. And I love their friendship. It's really nice. They are bro TV, honestly. If I didn't ship Haruhi with Tamaki, then I would have shipped those 2 together. They're so cute. The other episode at number 3 is The Sun, the Sea, and the Host Club. In this episode, the hosts decide to take their job to the beach, and at one point Haruhi tries to stop these girls from a gang of thieves, but she ends up almost getting hurt, which angers Tamaki. When they were at the beach house, she tries to figure out why he's mad at her, and the hosts tell her that he was worried about her, basically. Like, he was worried that she'd get hurt and such. And you learn more about Tamaki, Haruhi, and Kyoya. Like, Kyoya was the one that taught her what Tamaki was mad about. Basically, they see her as defenseless, even though she is very smart and can talk her way out of it, but she sees where the fear was. And then throughout the episode, the hosts were trying to figure out what she was afraid of. Like, they made a game out of it. And Tamaki was the one who found out when she was afraid of thunder, and he comforted her. which I really like. It shows that he really is caring and really does want her to feel safe and such. Number 2 is Honey's 3 Bitter Days. This is the first episode I showed my brother. It was either that or number 1. But it was hilarious. Basically, Honey Senpai gets a cavity and cannot eat sweets for a few days. And you just see him upset and trying his best to get sweets. Like trying to swindle them, trying to find them. The opening for this episode was hilarious, where they ruin his bunny Usa-chan and they try to replace it with a teddy bear and he just throws it on the ground. Very brutal to that bear. He does not want that bear. He wants his Usa-chan. Anyway, you see a lot about Honey and Mori, like their relationship. And it's just so sweet. Like, Mori punishes himself because he forgot to remind Honey to brush his teeth. But it turns out that Honey was feeling upset when Mori was punishing himself, and he just was sorry, and he promises to brush his teeth. Honey Senpai is so cute. I love an episode that's centered around him, especially this one, just because it's so fun. And my number 1 favorite episode of all time is the twins fight. Literally, after I saw this episode, I had to take a break from the show just because of how hilarious the whole thing was. Basically, the twins get bored and they decide to fight with each other. They dye their hairs different colors so that they can tell each other apart. And they just fight with each other all throughout it. Like, they throw things and they're just fighting. And when Haruhi finally gets them to stop, she realizes that they were all doing it just because they were bored. They were so bored, they instigated a huge fight. And it wasn't even real, like it was just pretend. One of the things about this episode that made people think was Haruhi was actually able to tell them apart based on their personalities. Like, they play the which one is Hikaru game, and she's able to tell who is who, even without knowing their hair is parted. And she's just able to tell them apart, which makes them feel like they're not alone anymore. It's a really good episode. I don't normally like the twins, but they do have some of the best episodes ever. But yeah, I love Ouran High School Host Club. I have a banner of it hanging in my room above my bed. I love it so much. And my favorite characters in it are Tamaki and Honey Senpai. It is such a good show. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend it. It's a great gateway anime. It's hilarious. It's great to see what anime is like, especially the harem genre. This is by far the greatest harem anime ever. And I love it. I praise it. It is so great. Definitely go watch it. And these episodes I highly recommend out of all of them. Thank you for watching me ramble about a show I really like. I'm gonna be doing top 10s for Death Note, Little Witch Academia, and RWBY as well. So stay tuned for those, and I will see you next time. Bye!